Welcome to our Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a really fascinating story unfolding in India. It's a tale of two economic giants, two massive sectors, and the big question is, which one will define the country's future?
So what we're really looking at here is a huge question for India. Is the path forward through building things, factories, hardware, physical goods? Or is it through writing code and leading the digital world?
So you've got two major players here. On one side, manufacturing is making this huge comeback, getting a ton of new investment and a big government push. And on the other, you have the established Titan IT Services, a global leader that's now having to deal with some massive changes.
All right, first up, let's look at the growth stories. Because honestly, there's a lot of good news on both sides. Both of these sectors have some incredible momentum right now.
The manufacturing story is all about this huge, government-backed push. It's called the Production-Linked Incentive Scheme, or PLI, and you can basically think of it as the government offering a huge bonus to companies that set up shop and produce in India. It's a game plan to build a new industrial powerhouse.
And here's the result. We're talking about over $20 billion in new investment. I mean, that's not just a number on a page. That is a massive vote of confidence. That's real money flowing in, creating jobs, and kicking the economy into a higher gear.
In this chart, well, this is where you see the real-world impact. Just look at that job growth. After years of things being kind of flat, you're seeing this incredible acceleration. That's the kind of trend that can seriously change lives.
Okay, so that's manufacturing. Now let's switch gears and talk about IT, because it's a completely different kind of growth story, but just as powerful.
It's hard to overstate how important IT is to India's economy. It's basically the backbone, contributing a massive 7% to the country's entire GDP. It's been a job-creating machine that has literally helped build modern India.
And it isn't just a domestic story. We're talking over $200 billion in projected exports. That makes India's IT sector a true global force, powered by the world's endless demand for new tech like cloud and AI.
Okay, but it's not all smooth sailing. Not by a long shot. Both of these giants are facing some pretty serious headwinds that could throw them off course. For manufacturing, it really boils down to one big question. Can they actually deliver? It's one thing to get all this investment, but it's another thing entirely to turn it into successful, profitable businesses.
Just look at solar panels for a second. The money is absolutely flooding in, which sounds great, right? But here's the catch. They're on track to build capacity for 3 times more solar panels than the country actually needs. That's a recipe for a brutal price war and a lot of wasted investment.
And listen, this isn't just a what-if scenario. It's already happening. The government's big flagship program, that PLI scheme, is already missing its targets. They've only managed to produce about a third of what they'd aimed for. It just goes to show that having a great plan is the easy part.
Now, for IT, the problem is completely different. After years of just insane, explosive growth, well, the engine is sputtering.
And we're not just talking about a minor slowdown here. I mean, look at these names. Infosys, TCS, these are the absolute titans of the industry, and even they are seeing their growth slow to a crawl. For some of them, these are the slowest growth rates they've seen in years.
So what's going on? Well, it's basically a perfect storm. You've got a shaky global economy, so their biggest clients in the US and Europe are cutting back on spending. And then you have the big one. AI and automation are starting to threaten the very kinds of jobs that built this industry in the first place.
So where does this leave us? What's the bottom line? Let's quickly define where each of these sectors really stands today.
Manufacturing, you can think of it as the up-and-comer, right? The rising star. It has an incredible amount of potential, especially in cool areas like electronics and electric vehicles. But it's still got a lot to prove. Success is going to depend entirely on execution.
And IT? Well, IT is more like the established champion who's suddenly realizing the game has completely changed. It's a mature industry that's being forced to reinvent itself, to move away from its old business model and build a new one around high-tech stuff like AI and cloud services.
All right, so if you're trying to figure out where all this is headed, what should you actually be paying attention to? Here are the key signals to watch.
This table really brings it all together, doesn't it? For manufacturing, the trend is promising, but it all comes down to that one word, execution. For IT services, they have a huge, solid base to build on, but their future is all about transformation and strategy.
So here's your cheat sheet. If you're watching manufacturing, keep your eyes on the hard numbers. New investment, are projects on time, and what do the export volumes look like?
For IT, it's a bit more subtle. Yeah, look at revenue, but more importantly, look at the kind of deals they're signing. Are they winning new contracts in AI and digital? That's the real test.
And that really leaves us with the big question. You have one sector trying to build something new from the ground up, and another trying to completely reinvent itself. One is a story of construction, the other of transformation. Which path will hold more promise for India's next decade? That's the story we'll all be watching unfold.